The AP Secretary General Anthony Loke said that political appointments in government-linked companies or GLCs listed on Bursa Malaysia is not the same as those appointed to statutory and regulatory bodies. Now, this comes amid criticism of ongoing political appointees in GLCs. Hafidzi Razali from BowerGroupAsia discusses the relevancy of such practices.
I think it doesn't really matter whether someone is appointed to a GLC, public listed GLC or not, because by the end of it, we'll have to understand that a lot of these companies are owned by the government, or the government has majority stakes or significant stakes in these companies. And the key of reform is to make sure that there's no political interference, particularly when it comes to making business decisions, especially when a lot of these companies that we are talking about have large presence, employ a lot of people, utilize a lot of capital. So with regards to political interference, we want to have minimal or non-political interference at all. And this involves whether public listed or non-listed GLCs.
For the government to gain the trust of the people, it must prioritize implementing laws to avoid future political appointments in GLCs, which must be expanded to include government-owned regulatory bodies.
Yeah, number one, the government will have to come up with a principled stance on what does it mean by a political appointment. And the term GLC here has to be explained properly as well, because different people have different understandings on what it means. But it should also be expanded to not just GLCs, public listed or not, but to also regulatory bodies or any bodies that do business owned by the government, because essentially it affects the livelihood of people. And if you make wrong strategic decisions, then it can potentially impact the livelihood of people on the ground, right? And the second point of it is that there has to be a parliamentary committee that looks into this and formalize it, institutionalize it as part of an act of parliament or parliamentary consensus, and perhaps take a cabinet action on this as well, cabinet decision, to make sure that the principles are agreed upon, and after that, the government can come up with guideline documents that are protected by the ambit of law, so that when there's any change of government, you have to go back to the law, and the law says that principally we don't accept political appointments in any of these scopes.